In this beginner-friendly watercolor video, I'm going to show you how to paint a cute little watercolor chicken. What's up, friends? Welcome back. My name is Shayda Campbell, and today we're painting chickens together. It's beginner friendly. You don't need a lot of know-how or supplies. I've got a little watercolor sketchbook, a number 6 round brush. I'm using a set of watercolor paints. This happens to be from Mungyo, but you can use whatever you have. And then some clean water and paper towel for blotting that brush. Remember, supplies are linked in the video description. Now, I have been painting chickens all week. I've painted a whole bunch. I've been playing around with like brown hens and white hens and all kinds of stuff and just kind of working out the shape. I've kind of come up with a formula for painting them, and I've been following that formula, and that's exactly what I'm going to share with you today. I'm going to paint a white chicken here on YouTube, and then this little cutie is going to be available to my besties over on Patreon. So if you're supporting the channel on Patreon, you can learn how to paint this brown chicken. It's actually not the July exclusive tutorial because that already came out. It's just an extra video because I love my patrons. So be sure to go check that out, patrons. For now, to all my friends here on YouTube, let's get down to some chicken painting. We're going to paint a white chicken, and so you're going to want to mix up a little bit of white watercolor paint, but because the paper is white, we're also going to mix a little gray in there. Painting white things on white paper is a skill, and it's one we can work on today together. So to start, we've got white and gray paint ready to go on the palette. We've got a number 6 round brush with that light gray paint in it. And we're going to come over here to our paper and work out the shape of this little rounded head. That's all we're doing, just starting with this little rounded bit for his head. And then using the lightest bit of gray on the tip of that brush, we go out here and draw in his back and his tail feather. You make this long, shallow U shape, and then take that light paint, the watery paint, and we're just working out the shape of the body, which drops down from the head and the tail. Keep it very, very light, and while that paint is wet, you can really work on the shape of the hen and make sure that you like it. But it's basically the head and the tail with this big belly underneath. And then you can take a slightly darker gray and put a little line across the center of the body where his wing is. From there, you can put 2 little nubs on the lower belly. Those are where his legs will be. And really, that's the shape of the hen. We've got him. From here, it gets kind of fun because now we need to create the look of feathers. And these hens are a great way to practice your wet into wet and your wet on dry watercolor technique. We'll start with wet into wet, so take a little bit of that slightly darker gray on the tip of your brush, and we're going to do these thin little brush strokes, giving the look of feathers. We'll put some along his neck, his wing, his tail, maybe his butt, even a little on the legs, and the way the darker gray bleeds out so beautifully into that lightly wet area, it's going to give us a really natural blend of color, and that means our shading and our feathering really couldn't be easier. I'm also going to take a little bit of raw sienna just on the tip of my brush and draw in 2 very crooked little tiny legs here with the claws going out both to the right and left at the bottom of his leg. And maybe we'll blend a little of that raw sienna into the gray and white of the body. That just looks nice and gives us that watercolor look that we're after. His body is likely dry now, so let's paint those red bits. We're going to just do a few flicks of the brush along the top of his head, getting a little smaller as we go towards his back, his tail, and then you'll put sort of 2 or 3 little brush strokes under where his beak will sit. And for this, I used a blend of red and brown, so it wasn't like a bright red. And then while that's drying, we can take a slightly darker gray and start to work some wet on dry. At this point, we're continuing to build the look of feathers. Like I said, this is great wet into wet and wet on dry practice. We got that nice natural blend earlier when the hen was lightly wet. Now we do these thin, light, just light as air little brush strokes with a darker gray, slightly darker gray, and we build up that feathery look. If this tutorial is moving fast and you want extra guidance, not only is there a video with another hen in it, but there's a worksheet to go along with it. That's available on Patreon. It's $2 a month to join or $22 for the year. Head over to patreon.com/Shayda Campbell and sign up today. Now the red bits have dried. Someone out there is like, those are not called red bits. Those are called blank. But anyway, red bits are dry. We're going to do a little bit of raw sienna, just a little triangular shape for the beak. Keep that point of the beak close. He is sort of in a 3/4 profile. He's not turned right to the side. Then we're taking just a slightly darker gray, maybe mixed a little brown in there. And we are continuing the look of feathering using our wet on dry technique. This is a lot of fun to do. It's just about those tiny little dots and dashes, and you're building the look of feathers. All I can say is just don't overdo it, or he won't look like a white hen anymore. You don't want to lose that bright white showing through. You can also use a bit of dark gray to map out where his eye will sit. It's just better to do it at light gray before you go with the black. And we might add a little shading on the backs of his legs and on his tail, and just use your discretion. I'm also going to darken the underside of his beak using a slightly darker yellow. And that's really it. This was a lot of fun to paint. I don't always want to get out of my comfort zone, but I'm usually glad when I do. What's the worst that can happen? It is just painting, right? We're just having fun. If you don't like what you paint, you've still gotten away from the screen time and done something fun and done something good for yourself. Remember that. And remember that if you would like to paint this little brown hen along with me, that is available on Patreon. Patrons, I love you. I wanted to do a little something extra for you this month, so go get this extra video. And there's all kinds of good stuff over there on the Patreon. We do a live art hour every month for my $10 patrons, and in June we did this fun little floral landscape. So that's the kind of thing that you can get access to. Check it out, and there's also that worksheet available as well. Sign up now for $2 a month or $22 for the year. Thanks for watching today, friends. I will see you soon. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.